We're live. This is Travis from Carter Cow Capital, helping you fight for your financial freedom towards the Forex market. This is another Trade with Travis night session. I have 9:14. Typically, we start this right around 9 o'clock, so I am late. I do apologize for everybody for being late. Make sure that I end up doing my push-ups and everything else like that for being late when it comes down to that. But I hope everybody's doing very well. Thanks for being able to pop in. For the people that will watch this a little bit later on during the recording session, and for obviously the people that's inside our Discord group and everything else like that. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go through the disclaimer, and then after that, give people a chance to be able to see that I'm actually on. And we'll kind of briefly go through three trading pairs that we end up getting into today. I don't think there's really no great opportunities to be able to make a move off of movements today, because the movements actually end up happening earlier this morning. So we end up going based off of that. So here we go. Not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from the education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. Now, understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money. Also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you're going to end up making money today. So as we go through and being able to take a look at these overall trading opportunities and everything else like that that has happened since earlier this morning, I would like to be able to know what type of day that you end up having. For the people that are watching on Share Vision, type in if you end up having a green day or a red day. It's always good to know when it comes down to that. I would like to be able to know how well you end up doing. So make sure that you end up typing in, talk about that overall day. It's always cool to be able to know how well people end up doing when it comes down to this. This is my maybe third or fourth time that we've done something on Share Vision, and I think we're probably going to end up making this be a continuing type of deal, this overall. But obviously, we got to build out a community when it comes down to this. But essentially, what I end up looking for when it comes down to trading opportunities, look for trending markers only, typically in an R2 or R3 ranking. We try to look for time frame alignment, meaning that the weekly and the daily are trading in the same direction. We look for overbought and oversold signals based off of the stochastic to be able to give us confirmation on if the market is ready to go based off of the time frame alignment. And then after that, we look at a catalyst that's basically either a counter trend line break or some type of economic news. And then we make sure that we end up having strong equity management that goes along with that. Now, keep this in mind. That's when the market is trending. When the market is in consolidation, obviously we end up doing a certain style called vortex trading or VRTX type of trading. If you're interested in being able to learn a little bit more about that, and please don't hesitate to be able to send me a message, whether privately or inside of the live stream or anything else like that, for people that would like to be able to join the actual Discord and be able to get more information about that. That is the free portion of the Discord. If you're interested in being able to learn a little bit more about our premium Discord area, where you can be able to get custom indicators and expert advisors placed inside of your package, obviously signals and everything else like that we do not necessarily have inside of our live sessions, and stuff that are outside of our live sessions, you can be able to click on that link from right there. All right, good to go. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Let's talk about what ended up happening today from an economic standpoint, and then after that, I'm going to mainly talk about the three trades or the four trades that we end up getting into overall. Some of them came from the some of them came from the automation system, and some of them came from our manual trading that we end up doing this morning. So today we have our midterm elections. They end up happening. Then after that, we end up having retail sales from the Eurozone. The Eurozone retail sales was still negative, but it was better than what it was expected to be able to be, which is always a positive, but it's still negative when it comes down to overall movement. And then after that, we end up having Japan have their current account. Going into tomorrow, tomorrow's going to end up being another traders day, meaning that we're not going to end up seeing a lot of high impact news unless there's just something maybe from a war standpoint or anything else like that that may make the market move overall. But currently right now, there's really nothing to be able to pay attention to for us being able to have a big movement over the top when it comes down to how the market's just basically reacting at this particular point. So please keep that in mind as you're going through and trying to figure out what we're doing for this trading today. I don't see anything in the foreseeable future going into tomorrow that will make me scared about what the market is actually doing. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next stuff. All right, so Let's talk about the trades that we end up getting into. The first one was US yen. We end up getting the US yen when the market ended up breaking past its counter trend line break at 147.20. And let me explain why we end up doing this for the people that are new. I want to come down to this, but overall, I think everybody kind of understands why I end up doing it if you have been watching over the course of the last, literally over the course of the last, I want to say 3 weeks at this particular point. From a weekly perspective, the United States dollar index, all right, United States dollar has been pushing bullish. The last wave that ended up happening only moved to the 23.6, and because of that, typically what you end up seeing that there's an 80% chance that the market will struggle. It's gonna struggle right around the 127, and that's exactly what ended up happening. Right around 151.16. I'm sorry. Japan started being able to do a little bit more intervention right around the overall high of the market. It ended up getting all the way up to 151.93. Remember, we ended up getting into a trade and it got all the way up to 151.73 before we ended up getting out, and the market actually ended up falling that same day. Since then, the market has broken an inner trend line break. Typically, when the market breaks an inner trend line break, then it will gravitate towards the outer trend line, and that's what we're expecting that the market's going to end up doing. We end up having two sub take profit positions. The first take profit position was at 144.90. The second take profit position was at 141.70, respectively, when it came down to those moves. From a daily perspective, what ended up happening was that we have seen the market basically start to move, break a counter trend line break, and continue to move from there. We end up taking a buy based off of the 2-hour counter trend line break that ended up happening right here. Once that ended up happening, we end up having a little slight retest, but overall throughout the day, the market ended up having a big drop to the downside. Currently right now, if you end up getting in exactly what we got in off of the second move, you should be up 108 points. Based off of that, our automation system has already started taking partial profit off on that move as well. But remember, you have two take profit positions that you would like I am clearly looking at 144.90 and 141.70. The reason why I'm saying 141.70 is basically that's the bottom of the natural support of this last consolidation that we end up having. 144.90 is basically the resistance. So I do believe when the market breaks a resistance or breaks the support, it will typically gravitate towards the next support. So let's keep that in mind. But overall, the market is moving in a pretty good position and a pretty good pace at this particular point. Okay. All right. So that was the first trade that we end up getting into. We end up getting into oil as well. On oil. So a couple things end up happening. First one was this. We ended up taking in a buy trade at 90. When the market ended up popping up right there, I ended up seeing that the market was in consolidation. I think I ended up taking profit at 90, or taking profit when the market started to go back to this natural support at 91 something, I believe. Now, because the market has broken below that support and it's done fell back inside of consolidation, that makes this untradeable. And because it's done broken an inner trend line at this particular point and retested this inner trend line, there's a chance that it will gravitate toward the outer trend line. Kind of like what we end up talking about back there, which means that this market could go all the way down to 86.40. That also means that the Canadian dollar is starting to get a little bit more weaker at this particular point in time as well. So we do have to pay attention to both of those things actually moving. The first trade that we end up getting into off of this one last week was at 86 with a take profit of 88.50 and 94.50. The market got all the way up to 93.60 before actually falling down, which basically matches up with the midpoint or basically the top portion of that resistance. So at this particular point in time, there's really no move to be able to do on oil as well. If you didn't get out early enough, then this would have been a loss. Or I'm sorry, if you're still in this move from last week, you're still in profit. But currently right now, there's really no reason to be in this move at this particular point moving forward. Gold, we didn't take a trade off of gold, but I will go over it. Market did exactly what we expected this morning, and now I feel kind of stupid about gold. Golly. So if you listened to me earlier this morning, what I ended up saying was this: market ended up breaking above 1671. I ended up saying I was looking for a counter trend line break to be able to get into this market. When the market broke above 1671, I was looking at being able to get out at 1720. Essentially, what ended up happening was that as soon as it broke out of this consolidation box, just like any type of vortex trade, typically you end up having a large move. And because we have been showing a lot more counter trend line breaks towards this movement, as soon as it broke the counter trend line break, absolutely exploded up. United States dollars had some type of weakness for whatever reason, and it ended up having a strong move to the upside, but missed out on that move, me in particular, because of being inside of the classroom. So kind of unfortunate on that move. My loss is your gain if you end up taking that trade based off of the way that we end up playing this out. So I'm hoping somebody inside of my Discord group end up actually winning on this one, because it'd be a shame that no one end up winning on this move after we end up seeing this pop like that. Cool. So that was that. Now, what I lost on what I lost on gold and not being able to get in, I regained back on US 30. US 30 ended up having a very good day today. What ended up happening was that the market ended up giving us a counter trend line break to be able to get into. We ended up getting in based off of that counter trend line break to the upside, and the overall thought process was that you want to squeeze out as much as possible. We know that the market is inside of a inside of a low volume node area, and we're basically about to be up in a run area where the market could go all the way up to 33,800. Currently, right now, the market is at 33,300, and we're looking for another counter trend line break. But based off of that push, end up catching about 400 points on this movement. Super excited about that as we go through. But currently, right now, can't celebrate too much. We're waiting for a counter trend line break. If this market gives us any type of movement to the upside, be interested in being able to jump in on this pair to the upside as well on this one. So that is US 30. DAX end up making money off the upside move off of that one as well. Broke out of consolidation, pushed to the upside. I've seen it started to consolidate again, and got out of that pair. Currently, right now, we're in the middle of a previous consolidation that ended up happening from August 5th all the way until August 18th. So I'm going to be a little bit more cautious about that move. I'll be happy to yawns every time I go inside of these sessions. Jeez. And that was it for that one. Did not have a loss today, which is good. Obviously, we try to make everything as much as a green type of day as we possibly can, but overall, we end up doing pretty good when it came down to those movements. That includes the automation systems that we end up having going on. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close out on this one, because I know that more than likely I probably didn't catch as many people. Typically, typically we start right around 9 o'clock, but I wanted to make sure that everybody at least got a video to see what was happening tomorrow. I will say, let's keep in mind that we are looking at a lot of continuation moves, and because a lot of continuation moves are happening, any type of counter trend line break that you end up getting based off of a deep drop will allow you to be able to make the most out of the overall market when it comes down to that push. Like always, make sure that you end up planning your trade and trading your plan. I'll see each and every one of y'all in the next video in the morning, 6:30 a.m. Sharp, and we'll go ahead and see if we have any more opportunities to be able to get in the moves. Everybody, take it easy.